Part 2 of 4 Hymns by Edmund Spenser. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Thomas Copeland. An hymn in honor of beauty. Ah, whither, love, wilt thou now carry me? What wantless fury dost thou now inspire into my feeble breast, too full of thee? Whilst seeking to slake thy raging fire, thou in me kindlest much more great desire, and up aloft above my strength doth raise the wondrous matter of my fire to praise. That as I erst in praise of thine own name, so now in honor of thy mother dear, an honorable hymn I eke should frame, and with the brightness of her beauty clear, the ravished hearts of gazeful men might rear to admiration of that heavenly light, from whence proceeds such soul-enchanting might. Thereto do thou, great goddess, queen of beauty, mother of love and of all world's delight, without whose sovereign grace and kindly duty nothing on earth seems fair to fleshly sight, do thou vouchsafe with thy love-kindling light to illuminate my dim and dulled eyne, and beautify this sacred hymn of thine, that both to thee, to whom I mean it most, and eke to her whose fair immortal beam hath darted fire into my feeble ghost, that now it wasted is with woes extreme, it may so please that she at length will stream some dew of grace into my withered heart, after long sorrow and consuming smart. What time this world's great workmaster did cast to make all things such as we now behold, it seems that he before his eyes had placed a goodly pattern, to whose perfect mould he fashioned them as comely as he could, that now so fair and seemly they appear, as naught may be amended anywhere. That wondrous pattern, wheresoe'er it be, whether in earth laid up in secret store, or else in heaven, that no man may it see with sinful eyes, for fear it do to floor, is perfect beauty, which all men adore, whose face and feature doth so much excel all mortal sense, that none the same may tell. Thereof, as every earthly thing partakes, or more or less, by influence divine, so it more fair accordingly it makes, and the gross matter of this earthly mind, which closeth it, thereafter doth refine, doing away the dross which dims the light of that fair beam which therein is empite. For through infusion of celestial power, the duller earth it quickeneth with delight, and lifeful spirits privily doth pour through all the parts, that to the looker's sight they seem to please. That is thy sovereign might, O Cyprian Queen, which, flowing from the beam of thy bright star, thou into them dost stream. That is the thing which giveth pleasant grace to all things fair, that kindleth lively fire, light of thy lamp, which, shining in the face, thence to the soul darts amorous desire, and robs the hearts of those which it admire. Therewith thou pointest thy son's poisoned arrow, that wounds the life and wastes the inmost marrow. How vainly then do idle wits invent that beauty is naught else but mixture made of colours fair, and goodly temperament of pure complexions, that shall quickly fade and pass away, like to a summer shade. Or that it is but comely composition of parts well measured, with meet disposition, hath white and red in it such wondrous power, that it can pierce through the eyes unto the heart, and therein stir such rage and restless stour, as naught but death can stint his dolour smart? Or can proportion of the outward part move such affection in the inward mind, that it can rob both sense and reason blind? Why do not then the blossoms of the field, which are arrayed with much more orient hue, and to the sense most dainty odours yield, work like impression in the looker's view? Or why do not fair pictures like power show, in which oft times we nature see of art excelled, in perfect limning every part? But believe me, there is more than so that works such wonders in the minds of men. I that have often proved, too well it know, And whoso list the like essays to ken, shall find by trial, and confess it then, that beauty is not, as fond men misdeem, an outward show of things that only seem. For that same goodly hue of white and red, with which the cheeks are sprinkled, shall decay, and those sweet rosy leaves, so fairly spread upon the lips, shall fade and fall away, to that they were, even to corrupted clay. That golden wire, those sparkling stars so bright, shall turn to dust, and lose their goodly light. But that fair lamp, from whose celestial ray that light proceeds, which kindleth lovers' fire, shall never be extinguished nor decay, but when the vital spirits do aspire, unto her native planet shall retire. For it is heavenly born, and cannot die, being a parcel of the purest sky. For when the soul, the which derived was at first out of that great immortal sprite, by whom all live to love, whilome did pass down from the top of purest heaven's height to be embodied here, it then took light and lively spirits from that fairest star, which lights the world forth from his fiery car. Which power retaining still, or more or less, when she in fleshly seed is eft and raced, note afterwards planted, return to text, through every part she doth the same impress, according as the heavens have her graced, and frames her house in which she will be placed fit for herself, adorning it with spoil of heavenly riches which she robbed erewhile. Thereof it comes that these fair souls, which have the most resemblance of that heavenly light, frame to themselves most beautiful and brave their fleshly bower, most fit for their delight, and the gross matter by a sovereign might temper so trim, that it may well be seen a palace fit for such a virgin queen. So every spirit, as it is most pure, and hath in it the more of heavenly light, so it the fairer body doth procure to habit in, and it more fairly dight with cheerful grace and amiable sight. For of the soul the body form doth take, for soul is form, and doth the body make. Therefore, wherever that thou dost behold a comely corpse with beauty fair endued, know this for certain, that the same doth hold a beauteous soul with fair conditions viewed, fit to receive the seed of virtue strewed. For all that fair is by nature good. That is a sign to know the gentle blood. Yet oft it falls that many a gentle mind dwells in a deformed tabernacle drowned, either by chance, against the course of kind, or through unaptness in the substance found, which it assumeth of some stubborn ground, that will not yield unto her form's direction, but is deformed with some foul imperfection. And oft it falls, ay me the more to rue, that goodly beauty, all be heavenly born, is foul abused, and that celestial hue, which doth the world with her delight adorn, made but the bait of sin and sinners' scorn, whilst every one doth seek and sue to have it, but every one doth seek but to deprave it. Yet not the more is it fair beauty's blame, but theirs that do abuse it unto ill. Nothing so good, but that through guilty shame may be corrupt, and wrested unto will. Nathless the soul is fair and beauteous still, however flesh's fault it filthy make. For things immortal no corruption take. But ye, fair dames, the world's dear ornaments, and lively images of heaven's light, let not your beams with such disparagements be dimmed, and your bright glory darkened quite, but mindful still of your first country's sight, do still preserve your first informed grace, whose shadow yet shines in your beauteous face. Loathe that foul blot, that hellish firebrand, disloyal lust, fair beauty's foulest blame. That base affections, which your ears would bland, commend to you by love's abused name, but is indeed the bondslave of defame, which will the garland of your glory mar, and quench the light of your bright shining star. But gentle love, that loyal is and true, will more illumine your resplendent ray, and add more brightness to your goodly hue, from light of his pure fire, which, by the way kindled of yours, your likeness doth display. Like as two mirrors, by opposed reflection, do both express the face's first impression. Therefore, to make your beauty more appear, it you behooves to love, and forth to lay that heavenly riches which in you ye bear, that men the more admire their founden may. For else, what booteth that celestial ray, if it in darkness be enshrined ever, that it of loving eyes be viewed never? But in your choice of loves, this well advise, that likest to yourselves ye them select, the which your form's first source may sympathize, and with like beauty's parts be inly decked. For if you loosely love without respect, it is not love, but a discordant war, whose unlike parts amongst themselves do jar. For love is a celestial harmony of likely hearts, composed of stars' consent. Note, of similar hearts combined by stars' consent. Return to text. Which join together in sweet sympathy, to work each other's joy and true content, which they have harbored since their first descent out of their heavenly bowers, where they did see and know each other here beloved to be. Then wrong it were that any other twain should in love's gentle band combined be, but those whom heaven did at first ordain, and made out of one mould the more degree. For all that like the beauty which they see, straight do not love, for love is not so light as straight to burn at first beholder's sight. But they which love indeed look otherwise, with pure regard and spotless true intent, drawing out of the object of their eyes a more refined form, which they present unto their mind, void of all blemishment, which it reducing to her first perfection, beholdeth free from flesh's frail infection, and then conforming it unto the light which in itself it hath remaining still of that first sun, yet sparkling in his sight, thereof he fashions in his higher skill and heavenly beauty to his fancy's will, and it embracing in his mind entire the mirror of his own thought doth admire. Which seeing now so inly fair to be, as outward it appeareth to the eye, and with his spirit's proportion to agree, he thereon fixeth all his fantasy, and fully setteth his felicity, counting it fairer than it is indeed, and yet indeed her fairness doth exceed. For lovers' eyes more sharply sighted be than other men's, and in dear love's delight see more than any other's eyes can see, through mutual receipt of beames bright, which carry privy message to the sprite, and to their eyes that in most fair display, as plain as light discovers dawning day. Therein they see, through amorous eye glances, armies of love still flying to and fro, which dart at them their little fiery lances, whom having wounded, back again they go, carrying compassion to their lovely foe, who, seeing her fair eyes so sharp effect, cures all their sorrows with one sweet aspect, in which how many wonders do they read to their conceit that others never see. Now of her smiles, with which their souls they feed, like gods with nectar in their banquets free, now of her looks, which like to cordials be, but when her words embassed forth she sends, Lord, how sweet music that unto them lends. Sometimes upon her forehead they behold 1,000 graces masking in delight, sometimes within her eyelids they unfold 10,000 sweet bell guards, which to their sight do seem like twinkling stars in frosty night. But on her lips, like rosy buds in May, so many millions of chaste pleasures play. All those, O Cytherea, and thousands more, thy handmaids be, which do on thee attend, to deck thy beauty with their dainty store, that it may more to mortal eyes commend, and make it more admired of foe than friend. that in men's hearts thou mayst thy throne install, and spread thy lovely kingdom over all. Then Io, triumph! O great beauty's queen, advance the banner of thy conquest high, that all this world, the which thy vassals been, may draw to thee, and with due fealty adore the power of thy great majesty, singing this hymn in honour of thy name, compiled by me, which thy poor liegeman am. In lieu whereof, grant, O great sovereign, that she whose conquering beauty doth captive my trembling heart in her eternal chain, one drop of grace at length will to me give, that I her bounden thrall by her may live, and this same life, which first from me she reaved, may owe to her of whom I it received. And you, fair Venus darling, my dear dread, fresh flower of grace, great goddess of my life, when your fair eyes these fearful lines shall read, deign to let fall one drop of due relief, that may recure my heart's long pining grief, and show what wondrous power your beauty hath, that can restore a damned wight from death. End of Part 2 of 4 Hymns by Edmund Spenser. Recording by Thomas Copeland.